Welcome. Today, we're taking those dense, dry compliance documents and turning them into something incredibly powerful. We're building a definitive, actionable blueprint for a bulletproof school safety culture. Whether you're a principal, a teacher, or a safety officer, this explainer is your roadmap for turning policy into actual practice. Let's get to it.
I want you to pause and really think about this for a second. Is your school truly secure? Every single day, parents trust you with their absolute most precious assets, right? That's a massive responsibility. It's a high-stakes environment where just hoping for the best simply isn't an option. You need a shield, and today, we're going to build one together.
Okay, let's dive into this step by step. First, building a safety culture. Second, assessing and managing risks. Third, securing the school perimeter. Fourth, daily checklists and supervision. And fifth, mastering emergency response.
So, part 1, building a safety culture with the architects of our shield.
You know, our very first layer of defense isn't actually a fence or a fancy alarm system at all. It's culture. A proactive safety culture starts with understanding exactly what the stakes are. It's about shifting from just reacting to incidents to preventing them entirely. And this right here is the bedrock of everything we're discussing today, the duty of care. This isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a serious legal and moral obligation. Under frameworks like the South African Schools Act, this literally means protecting the well-being of every single learner, ensuring absolutely no one is left unsupervised around a foreseeable risk. And what's a foreseeable risk? Well, think of an unlocked chemical closet in the science lab, or PE equipment just left out on the field. Safety isn't just the principal's headache, it's a shared responsibility across every staff member. It is completely non-negotiable.
To actually enforce this duty, you need a dedicated team. These are the architects of your safety shield. The school safety committee. You've got your chairperson, usually the principal or deputy, leading the charge. Then your safety officer, who handles the day-to-day management. You also bring in the school governing body representative to be the voice of the community. And crucially, especially for high schools, you include a learner representative from the SRC. This student voice is absolutely vital, because learners often spot the blind spots that we adults totally miss. They're the ones who know exactly which hallways get dangerously overcrowded or which side gates are notoriously propped open after hours. This committee is the collaborative engine that ensures hazards are spotted way before they become emergencies.
Moving on to part 2, assessing and managing risks, identifying the cracks.
Now, what's really interesting about this matrix is how it removes all the emotion and guesswork from safety planning. When you spot a hazard, you score its likelihood of happening from 1 to 5 and its potential impact from 1 to 5. Multiply those together, and boom, you have an objective priority rating. A score of 1 to 5 is low. You just keep an eye on it. But a score of 20 to 25? Wow, that is critical. That requires immediate escalation to the governing body. It gives your team a crystal clear mathematical roadmap of exactly what needs fixing first, which totally cuts out any endless debate over budget priorities or maintenance schedules.
Okay, so once a risk is scored, how do you actually handle it? Well, you've got a practical toolkit with 4 specific choices. First, you can avoid it entirely by just discontinuing the dangerous activity, like, say, canceling a really poorly planned field trip. Second, you can reduce it by putting controls in place, maybe adding thick safety mats under a tall jungle gym. Third, you can transfer it, either through insurance or by outsourcing tricky jobs, like complex electrical work, to certified pros. Or fourth, if it's scored really low on that matrix we just looked at, you can simply accept it and monitor it over time. It's a structured, no-nonsense way to make swift decisions without getting bogged down in committee meetings.
Section 3. Securing the school perimeter. The outer defense.
All right, I want you to visualize a stranger arriving at your main gate right this second. What happens next? Did you know that in a lot of security tests, strangers successfully bypass unmonitored school gates just by looking confident and acting like they belong there? Yep. To stop this, you need a strict 4-step single-entry checkpoint process. Step 1, the guard requests a valid ID. No ID? Absolutely no entry. Period. Step 2, they are comprehensively recorded in the visitor register. Step 3, they're issued a highly visible visitor badge. And step 4, and this is the absolute crucial one where a lot of schools fail, they must be escorted by a staff member. A visitor should never, ever be wandering your school halls alone.
I actually want to read this directly from the policy standards because it is just that important. No unaccompanied, unidentified, or unregistered visitor shall be permitted on school premises at any time. This is a core, unbending principle. It is literally the only way to prevent child abduction or severe safeguarding breaches during school hours. Every single person on your grounds must be known, documented, and accounted for. Absolutely no exceptions for familiar faces or, just quick drop-offs.
Section 4. Daily checklists and supervision. Routine vigilance.
Picture a proactive safety routine on a random Tuesday morning at, say, 6:30 a.m. Before the learners even arrive, your duty teacher or safety officer is methodically running through this exact checklist. Are the entry gates secure? Is the playground swept and clear of broken glass? Are emergency exits completely unobstructed? Are the first aid kits fully stocked? And hey, are the CCTV cameras actually recording? And this brilliantly illustrates a key point. Most school liabilities actually stem from simple trips and falls, not Hollywood-style intruders. A quick, 15-minute morning routine prevents massive headaches, injuries, and potentially super expensive lawsuits later in the day.
So, when those morning checks do inevitably find an issue, how fast do you fix it? This prioritization framework gives your maintenance staff super clear target resolution times. For instance, if your caretaker finds an exposed electrical wire near a water fountain, that is a P1 critical hazard. It demands a response within 24 hours, and you cordon off that area immediately. But if it's a P3 moderate hazard, maybe a wobbly desk or a loose handrail, you've got a 5 to 10 day window to address it. In something like a fading sign, that might be a P4, giving you a few weeks. Proactive structure totally replaces panic and confusion.
Section 5. Mastering emergency response. High-stakes action.
Let's look at the steps for a fire evacuation. You activate the alarm, and teachers immediately direct students to the nearest exit. But look really closely at step 3 here. This is incredibly crucial and honestly a bit counterintuitive. Teachers must close the doors behind them to intentionally slow the spread of fire and smoke, but they must not lock them. You have to allow firefighters easy access. Then you assemble at the predetermined muster point and take a roll call. That roll call is your absolute most important metric, because if someone is missing, that information goes straight to the incident commander, so rescue efforts can be targeted right that second.
Now, I want you to contrast that fire evacuation with a security lockdown. In a fire, you evacuate, but in a lockdown for an external threat, you barricade. You lock the doors, completely cover the windows, and sit entirely out of sight well below window level. And here is the absolute unbreakable rule for this one: total silence. You take a silent roll call, you communicate with admin only via secure text channels or messaging apps. You do not make PA announcements during an active lockdown because the noise can literally alert an intruder to your exact location. You wait in complete, absolute silence until law enforcement physically arrives and gives you the all clear.
In any of these critical emergencies, external help has to be triggered immediately. Burn these numbers into your memory. Post them prominently in every single classroom and administrative office. 10111 for the SAPS and 10177 for an ambulance. The principal or safety officer must never, ever hesitate or wait for permission to call these numbers during a genuine crisis. Seconds literally save lives here.
Which brings us to our final section: drills and muscle memory, putting the shield to the test. Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds over time. Having high-stakes procedures written down in some dusty binder in the principal's office is totally useless if nobody knows how to execute them under pressure, right? Term 1, you practice your fire evacuation. Term 2, you test your lockdown and security protocols. Term 3, you simulate a medical emergency with your trained first aiders. And Term 4, you practice sheltering from a natural event like severe weather. By the end of the year, your staff and learners aren't just reading policy, they're a highly coordinated, instinctively reacting team.
Ultimately, all of these policies, those risk matrices, the daily checklists, they all boil down to this one really powerful truth from the safety guidelines. School safety is not a once-a-year tick-box exercise. It is a daily commitment by every member of the school community. You see, a safe school isn't just about avoiding liabilities or ticking off a compliance checklist. It creates the fundamental psychological safety necessary for the absolute best learning environment possible. Students simply cannot learn and teachers cannot teach if they do not feel profoundly safe.
So I'm going to leave you with this immediate challenge. You have the blueprint now. You know exactly how to build the shield. So when will you conduct your next school safety audit? Please do not wait for an incident or a scary near miss to force your hand on this. Take this explainer, apply it to your campus tomorrow morning, and fiercely protect your community. Thanks so much for learning with us, and stay safe out there.